First, though, tonight, South Carolina lawmakers could soon force school districts to make special needs school buses safer. A bill introduced after our three-part The Longest Ride investigation from November is now making its way through the State House tonight. And this bill comes more than 4 years after the brutal attack of a nonverbal autistic child on board a Chesterfield County school district bus in 2018. Our investigation showed how the district failed to act when the state warned not putting adult attendants on its special needs buses right now are putting students and bus drivers and the public at risk. Well, here's Chief Investigator Jody Barr tonight with an update to The Longest Ride, a Queen City News investigation.
In November 2018, a 9-year-old attacked 4-year-old Autumn Engel, a child who could not speak, but who the school bus video shows did all she could do to let someone know something was happening. The attack spanned 2 bus rides on the same day. That included bites, kicks, having her head slammed into the back of the seat, and punched several times in her face. The bus driver claimed he never saw anything.
Fighting so that no other children like Autumn will ever have to suffer or go through that again.
State Representative Richie Yow represents Chesterfield County. He had no idea until our investigation the Chesterfield County School District likely could have prevented this.
There's no excuse for a child to be restrained on a special needs bus and be attacked on a special needs bus.
Autumn Engel's parents sued the district and the State Department of Education. The lawsuit accused the district of committing civil rights violations against Autumn Engel and ignoring warnings from the state and its own bus driver about the dangers of not putting adult attendants on special needs buses. Those warnings came 2 months before this bus attack. The claims against the Education Department dealt with the state's failure to protect Autumn Engel and its failure to properly train and supervise bus drivers. The district and the state paid Autumn Engel's family $2.2 million to settle the lawsuit.
We need to go a step further. We need to make it safe for our children, just as we would any other situation, and that's what we're doing with pre-draft legislation. We've dropped a bill that would require an attendant to be on the special needs bus if a child is restrained. That's pick up and take home.
Yow's bill also makes clear the adult attendant cannot be the bus driver, which is what Chesterfield County had 11 of its 12 special needs bus drivers doing in the months before and months after the 2018 school bus attacks.
You can't blame the driver. The driver does their driving. That should be their number one focus, because that is a dangerous job. Safety for our children is driving and keeping them safe.
But depositions in the lawsuit show that's exactly what the Chesterfield County School District did.
There was not appropriate supervision on the Ruby Elementary School special needs bus the day AA was attacked.
Yes, Mr. Sires did not display the kind of supervision that I feel like he should have.
The Chesterfield County Sheriff's Office charged bus driver Ronnie Sires with unlawful neglect of a child, accusing him of failing to address why Autumn Engel was screaming.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly affirm the testimony you're about to give to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
It took Autumn Engel's attorney 6 hours over 2 days to depose Chesterfield County School District Superintendent Dr. Harrison Goodwin. Goodwin admitted his administration never told parents about the state's warnings.
As a parent, do you believe that the parents of the children on these special needs buses had a right to know about the danger when you found out about it?
I'm not sure I can answer that in a yes, no, because there are other factors that go with that.
Well, let's look at the factor that you got that warning. 2 months go by, we still don't have the attendance on it. And your initial response within days was, we're going to need to look at a cost analysis of it. So you knew that you weren't going to be addressing it right away because you were going to be doing a cost analysis, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So you knew that this potentially dangerous operation of the special needs bus was out there and that y'all weren't going to address it immediately. Are the parents of the children on those buses not entitled to know of the potential danger to their children so they can make a decision of whether or not they're going to leave the child on the bus while y'all figure it out?
Object to the form.
If you put it in those terms, it would have been a good thing to have let them know.
Can you think of a acceptable reason why you wouldn't let parents know in that type of situation?
Object to the form.
I'm sorry, what was your answer?
No, sir.
Goodwin also admitted he didn't tell his school board about the state's warning.
When did you first inform anyone on the school board that the operation of the special needs buses potentially endangered the students, general driving public, and the driver?
I'm going to say that I did not inform them in those words at any point. I did inform them that we were going to be looking at putting attendants on buses.
Did you ever inform anyone with the school board that you had received those warnings from the Department of Education 2 months before the attacks?
No, sir, not per se.
When you say not per se, did you ever inform them of it at all?
Again, I did not say we got this email from the State Department and this is what it said. No, sir.
Those depositions also revealed once the school board found out about the attacks, it did nothing to investigate how it happened or what the district could do to keep this from ever happening again.
Or did the school board take any action in response to those attacks?
We did not. No, we take that. We give that to the superintendent to make sure that he and his staff do everything they need to.
Chesterfield County School Board member Eric Dusa was deposed on behalf of the school board.
So the question is, did the board at any point in time ask, how did this happen? Did our policies have anything to do with it happening? And do we need to revise or create policy to address why it happened?
I don't think that was discussed. No.
Okay. Did the school board conduct any investigation or evaluation about the administrative actions that were taken leading up to the attacks and in the wake of the attacks?
We do not do any investigating ourselves. We do not. We have no committees for investigation or anything like that. Everything administratively that is done in the district falls on the superintendent.
And did the board look into why these attacks happened, any of the action leading up to it, or the response in the wake of it, in performing any of its evaluative duties?
No, we did not. We did not take that into consideration.
Was the school board ever made aware of the idea that had there been an adult attendant on that bus, that these attacks would have either been prevented or, if not completely prevented, caught very quickly so that the attacks did not continue to the extent they did?
Object to the form. No, we were not informed of that.
The South Carolina House Speaker assigned Representative Richie Yow's special needs bus bill to the Education and Public Works Committee. There is no date set yet for when lawmakers will begin to debate the bill. Dr. Harrison Goodwin would not talk to us for this report, but his personal attorney responded to decline the interview. The Chesterfield County School District didn't put attendants on all its special needs buses until 2 years after these attacks. The district told me it still does not have a written policy requiring adult attendance, but it's something the district now chooses to do. Representative Yow hopes to take that choice away from school districts by making it illegal to operate a special needs bus without another adult on board.